1982, a young Disney animator wrote and directed a stop-motion short film that was a tribute to his childhood hero, Vincent Price. That animator was Tim Burton, and the film was titled simply Vincent. Vincent tells the story of a young boy named Vincent Malloy who has quite the imagination. Obsessed with Vincent Price and Edgar Allan Poe stories, Vincent imagines his world filled with spiders, bats, and all things gruesome. This short film runs right around 6 minutes and is a magnificent tribute to Vincent Price. Best of all, it is narrated by none other than Price himself, making this project a dream come true for Burton, who was just 24 at the time. This remains my favorite film that Tim Burton ever made. Burton and Price became friends during the filming of this movie, and the two would stay in touch through the years. They would go on to work together again in the late 1980s. Vincent's next big screen appearance was the 1983 horror comedy, The House of the Long Shadows. Desi Arnez Jr. stars as Kenneth McGee, a writer who makes a $20,000 bet with his agent that he can pen a horror novel along the lines of Wuthering Heights in just 24 hours, provided he has the proper setting. His agent Sam, played by Richard Todd, knows of a Gothic manor in Wales that has stood empty for over 40 years and books it for the night. McGee makes his way through a driving rainstorm and finally finds the place, but upon arriving discovers that the house isn't empty after all. He meets a caretaker named Elijah Quimby, played by John Carradine, and his daughter Victoria, played by Sheila Keith, who are very surprised to see him. Shortly thereafter, a woman sneaks into the mansion who is revealed to be Sam's secretary, Mary Norton, played by Julie Peasgood. After that, several more guests arrive in succession. A man named Sebastian, played by Peter Cushing, another named Corrigan, played by Christopher Lee, a pair of hitchhikers named Andrew and Diane Calder, played by Richard Hunter and Louise English, and a final guest named Lionel, played by Vincent Price. Needless to say, things get complicated quickly, and none of the guests are who they seem to be. McGee becomes caught up in the mysterious goings-on in the creepy mansion, which is filled with cobwebs, hidden chambers, forbidden secrets, and murder. House of the Long Shadows was directed by Pete Walker and distributed by Cannon Pictures. It was released in the UK on June 17, 1983, but not until the following year in the US. The end of the film is a twist within a twist, and one that many viewers find disappointing. Ultimately, it's the pairing of the four horror masters, Carradine, Cushing, Price, and Lee, that is the best thing about the film. The four men share not only the same movie, but even the same scene at times, making this the only movie in which they all four appear on screen together. Desi Arnez is more than overmatched by the experienced old-timers in this movie, but I still find the film entertaining for what it is. There are enough old dark house elements mixed with fun performances by the horror veterans to make this one more than entertaining in my book. A must-see at least once for classic horror fans. Next up, Price would appear in the 1984 horror comedy Bloodbath at the House of Death.